Hello, everyone. If you can give me a 5 by 5, if you can hear me, thank you for being here. Let's see who we got in the chat tonight. Scroll back up to the top. No, Max Havoc, Black Cat, Early Gig. Good evening. Unknown Vector, Dome Seeker. Hello. Let's see, 5 by 5, 5. Yes or no? Let me know. Can you hear me? All right, awesome. We're 5 by 5. Now let me go back up, say hi to some people. Sherman Sales, thank you for being here. Smitty Smith, River Rat, Jay Horror, Shorty. Hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Dome Seeker, hello, young lady. Yes, I just saw it. You sent me a message. I haven't checked it yet. Where's Chewbacca this evening? Well, basically, this chat that we're going to have here is was a question asked by Mystic Bengals. From the way they phrased their comment a couple weeks ago, I assume that they're not in the United States, but turn that off. But they did have a good question. They wanted to know what was going to happen in cities, because during the camping trip, I had mentioned that it'd be all kinds of horrible, nasty. And I didn't want to get into it right then because, one, it wasn't my stream. And I don't like saying things that will get, like John over at Prepper Nation, get his channel a strike or whatever, because he's monetized and things like that. So I try to be on my bestest behavior, mind my P's and Q's. And there were also children present. So there's that. And I try not to use Robbie words because Chewbacca, hello, Sugar Dumpling, Chewbacca and Dome Seeker get hassled by their children if they hear too many Robbie words, Uncle Rob words, so there's that. Prepper Cowboy, thank you for being here. Hey, our American, hello, buddy. How you doing? Papa's Farm, hey, how you doing, brother? KB, hello, thank you for being here. Well, let's go over, before we get into what is going to happen in major cities should there be total grid down, total collapse. Now, this is not if they've been nuked or any of the other things. Just if the power goes out, and one day it probably will and won't come back on, I believe, for a very long time. Before we get into that, let's talk about some local things. Local to this country, some news events, and how, because everybody always asks, how do we get our country back? When's the next Civil War? I hate to break it to you, there wasn't a first Civil War. You see, a Civil War, regardless of what you want to call it, a Civil War is when two separate entities are fighting over control of one government and one land. When you have separate areas and two countries go to war, that's just a regular war. Yeah, because like it or not, the South did not try to invade Washington, D.C. and take over the U.S. government. No, didn't happen. But I digress, as John would say. The quickest way to change the course of a nation has always been the individual. Look at, as I said before, Archduke Ferdinand. Things changed pretty quick. But let me give you some examples. Killdozer. Y'all know who Killdozer is? That is one man who made a difference. Like it or not, whether he survived or not, whole different issue. He made a difference. And I bet people in that area, they were like, well, maybe we might not want to do this next time we're pushing somebody that way. Kyle. We all know Kyle, the Rittenhouse. He made a difference. Whether you like it or not, he made it. One man made a difference. Ammon Bundy, the Bundy Ranch. He made a hell of a difference. He made a stand. Luckily, other people came and helped him. The Demolition Man. That's what I'm calling the guy who, or gal, equal opportunity here, who took out the what some people call the Devil's 10 Commandments, the Georgia Guidestones. One person made a difference. And let's not forget Hammerman from earlier this week. Yes, Hammerman was not successful. And I know some people will be like, well, violence doesn't solve anything. If you're a violence doesn't solve problems person, you might want to just go somewhere else, because this channel is not for you, because we understand why cops carry firearms. We understand why there's a Second Amendment. We understand why people train dogs to attack, because violence solves problems. Yes. And the more available violence is, the politer society is along with it. Isn't that weird? Yeah, when there's a chance you'll get shot or cracked in the jaw, you tend to be nicer to people. But Demolition Man, he failed. But had he not, he was one man, or not Demolition Man, Hammer Man. You know, old Pelosi out there. Had she been home, think of how the course of this nation could have instantly changed. Think of things that she was going to vote on that wouldn't have been. Think of that. One man could have made that drastic of a difference. Like it or not, it's true. You know, he missed. He had poor planning. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Remember that. But at the end of the day, like I'm saying, one person can make a hell of a difference. You're buffering on your end. I'm going to call it a night. All right, Uncle Charlie. AR American, yes, Ruby Ridge. Ruby Ridge. I actually had that written down. I wasn't sure how people would feel about that, because there are people that are like, oh, he was a racist. I don't care what he was. The fact that they had him breaking a law that isn't a law. Okay. Just because a bureaucracy tells you you can't have this when the Constitution says that you can, fuck what that bureaucracy says. I'm sorry, Rob Words. But anyway, I digress. One person can make a difference. So if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I wish somebody would go and organize us and everything. Be that man. Be that man. Be the change you want to see. If you don't like that statue of Lucifer, I can't remember what city it's in, but there's some city here in the U.S. that has a giant statue of Lucifer. Oh, and for the record, disclaimer: this is art, huh? This is fiction. I do not condone violence or anything illegal. But hypothetically speaking, if you saw that giant statue of Lucifer that they had, I think in Chicago or Detroit, wherever the hell it was for a while, if you decided to, blow it to kingdom come, if you think somebody should, that could be you. You could be the mystery person who gets rid of it for everybody else. Be the change you want to see. All right? Don't stop waiting on somebody else to solve your problems. Or at least get on here and create a YouTube channel and help encourage people. Be an instigator. Anyway, I digress. Let's get on to you almost forgot. What did I almost forget? Again, if you need something, if you need me to see something, just put like a big smiley face or something in the chat along with whatever you're saying. That way it draws my eye directly to your comment. Okay. 61 people and 27 thumbs up. Hey, that's almost 50%. All right. Let's get into the first week. The first week of a societal collapse, power grid down. All right, EMP, coronal mass ejection, whatever it would be. Yes, I know smoking is bad, going to kill me. Blah blah blah. We all die. None of us get out of life alive. So, if one of the things that's stopping you from pursuing your dreams of making the world a better place is that, I might get killed, you're going to die anyway, one way or another. Hello, okay, see, the disclaimer. Yes, I forgot the disclaimer. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Good, Michael Holzman. Thank you for being here. I got some kissy faces. Big German prepared. Good to see you. Pilgrim Prepper. Eric King. Okay. Throw out a few stats. And these are a few years behind, but they're not going to be that far off. New York City, the Big Apple, has roughly 42 law enforcement officers, LEOs, per 10,000 people. For every 10,000, they have 42. Los Angeles, 24 per 10,000. Chicago, 43. Portland, oh, isn't that a lovely place? 14. That was before the defund movement. 14 per 10,000. New Orleans, what a lovely place that is too. 29 per 10,000. So, and I know I just routed off primarily liberal cities. The conservative cities are about the same. All right. If you can find any truly conservative cities anymore, because that was one part of Mystic Bengal's comment, was that they want to know what was going on, what happened in all cities, not just liberal ones. Unfortunately, regardless of state, the cities tend to be liberal strongholds. It's where you're going to find the densest population of liberals. So, ergo, you must consider every city a liberal city, especially in an SHTF. There is no such thing as a conservative city. It doesn't exist. Let's see, River, who's jumping in there? All right, let's talk. So the cops are going to be outnumbered. Right off, the cops are outnumbered right now. Law enforcement in your town, in your city, is outnumbered drastically by the population. It's just the current system of electricity, which allows them to maintain control of that many people. All right. In a world without power, in most third world nations where they don't have electricity, you don't have populations this large in cities, in villages. They're villages, towns, smaller populations. You cannot grow populations to the size that we have without electricity. It can't happen. It can't, because the cities are consumers, not producers. Before, if you go back 100 years, 200 years, just 100 years, cities were both production and users. Not anymore. For the most part, most food is produced far from any city and shipped in, thanks to electricity. Electricity makes it all possible. All right. So, that being said, cops aren't going to be around very long after a SHTF scenario, as the power grid going down and not coming back on. Day one, all shipments are going to stop. All shipments going in, all shipments coming out. It's just not going to happen. You can't run shipments, even if you wanted to. You couldn't run shipments into cities, shipments of food, of medical supplies, of whatever, without a way to, no traffic lights, no gas stations, no truck stops with diesel, no refrigeration, and the list goes on. So all shipments will stop. And that's not just by trucks. That'll be at the ports too. You can't unload the big ships, even if they come in. All right. And a big ship will know this and be like, well, we're a lot safer out here where we have our own little power plant. Law enforcement on day one will still be in place. They'll be going, what the hell is going on? What do we do? How do we maintain communications? Yes, Sean, I know I shouldn't smoke. And I got that for you, Sean Gill, right there. You shouldn't smoke. Yeah, you started, you're the one who was like, here, want to try this? 12. Remember I was 12? Anyway, I still love you, brother. I've rocked the Warlord t-shirt all weekend. Vigil Force. Well, thank you there, Chewbacca. I'm glad you enjoy the t-shirt. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, law enforcement on day one is going to be running around like a chicken with their head cut off. They're going to be trying to figure out what to do. If they can try, they're going to be trying to establish communications. It's not going to last for long with no power grid, with no way to communicate distances. All right. And crime is going to start to tick up immediately on day one. Crime is going to start to tick up. Why? Because you're going to have people in cities that buy their food and their water day to day. Yeah. And they are not going to be able to use their magic plastic card, and shit's going to start going sideways, especially when you're talking about cities with populations in the millions. All right. Our American says that he smokes so he doesn't catch a case. I just smoke because, well, I want to like it, and kind of I like to smoke, and two, I'm addicted to it. Have gone long periods without it, but it is what it is. Most people have a vice. Mine's smoking. Let's see. Unknown Vector says no power, no municipal water pumps, and no fire department. Yes, you are correct, and that's further on down here. Where I mentioned the water, but yes, you're correct. The water pumps, water gets to the cities via pumps. Another thing, subways. People are like, well, I could see shelter in a subway. If you go in a subway, especially in New York City, after a power outage, you are going to end up in a watery tomb, because the pumps, the electrical pumps, are all that keep that from flooding, and they will not be working. So, yeah, all the homeless people that are in it, you'll see when all the rats start fleeing the New York subway system, and just in droves. Yeah, whichever way the rats are going, if they're coming from there, you don't want to go there. You'd be surprised how many people wouldn't have common sense to realize that. All right. Day two. People will be trying to get info. People really won't have panicked yet. Yes, the violence will have probably ticked up because of, like I said, people trying to get cigarettes from their local 7-Eleven, or a 12-pack of beer, and different things like that, food. But day two, things are going to start ramping up. I got some little notes wrote over here, day by day. People are going to be trying to get information, figure out what's going on. The problem is panic's going to begin to set in because they're not going to be able to get information. Because our information systems require electricity. Now, you may have people on ham radios, a few people with cities that are independent from the grid that will be passing information, but this is going to be few and far in between when you're talking about hundreds of thousands or millions of people. The vast majority of the population of major cities will not know anything about what's going on. In your smaller towns, in your rural environments, yeah, you'll have like the town crier. Oh, hey, so and so's got a ham radio. We'll get this information. We'll get it out. Sheriff will or his deputies will go out and announce it to small towns and villages. That the people will be more informed. But in the cities, no. There's going to be you might as well say there's no information. Some will begin evacuating. Those, like, for example, Jason, the angry prepper. He's the type that will be like, all right, it's day two. We can't figure out what's going on. It's time to get the hell out of Dodge. And they'll try to quietly slink their way out of the city and get put as much distance between them and the dense population as possible, because population density matters. Everybody talks about that. Let's say, Tuck Firings, if you're only getting a 12-pack when SHTF, you ain't planning on living long. Well, I don't drink beer anyway. All my stuff clear jars, but and it ain't made in cities or nowhere near. Sewage will back up into your homes too. Yeah, sewage will back up. Let's see. Law enforcement will begin to understand on day 2 also. They'll begin to understand what the hell is actually going on. And a lot of them, whether they want to admit it or not, will begin deserting. They will, because they'll know, I got to keep my family safe. You might have that diehard that has no family and he lives for the force, for the shield, and he might stay behind. But a lot of them will start getting the hell out of Dodge because they know what's going to be coming. Violence will start spiking on day 2, because day 2 will be the second day that people have not been able to buy food. Now, you will have those that had something to eat before, had a few, some bottles of water. By day 2, you're talking about a population of even, let's just say, 500,000 people. Pretty much by day 2, most of the food in everyone's home in a big city is going to be gone. All right. Either because the refrigeration hasn't been running, or they simply ate it, along with the water. All right. Not a lot of people, not a lot of preppers, I don't think, not by population density, in New York City. All right. Day 3, no food left in the city. On day 3, there will be almost no food left in the city. Supermarket shelves will, as of day 3, at the end of day 3, they'll be gone. All right, because people will be going in, taking what the hell they want, which probably started on day 2, and it'll be a free for all, because people will panic. They won't know what to do, and they'll go to their local hamburger joints. You will see people going through eating meat they shouldn't be eating that's been unrefrigerated for 24 or 48 hours or longer. And yeah, there's a lot of bad shit that's going to come from this. Let's see. Black Cat will cowboy up, embrace the suck, make the chaos work for you. Let's see. What else we got in here? Papa's Farm, Little Miss Prepper. Hello. We are vigilant preparednesses. We are 3 meals away from total collapse. We are 3 meals away from total anarchy. Not so much collapse. Collapse will cause the 3 meals, but 3 meals away from animalistic violence. All right. Think the Purge, but there's no siren to stop it. All right. What's that Forever Purge where they just kept going? Dieter Andrew, it doesn't necessarily have to be an EMP. I did a video last year, which I'll do again on this channel, that was how to take down the power grid. And it's not rocket surgery. Our power grid is so weak. When there was a blackout a few years back where most of the Northeast was blacked out for days, it was because a tree limb fell on a line in Ohio. All right. No, this could be EMP. It could be a coronal mass ejection like the Carrington event. It could be coordinated effort by a 12-man cell that just decided to go out with rifles and take down the power grid. Yes, 12 guys with 12 rifles could shut down the U.S. power grid. Yes, it can happen in a day. Just like 1 second after. I read that. I think, however, the hordes of people will be a lot sooner than they portrayed in that book, just because like in that book, they portrayed like a few weeks in, there were hordes of people that were marauding, like large groups. Here's the thing. If it's been a few weeks before, or even a month before these large hordes start their marauding, there's not going to be any people to make large groups and maraud, because you can't live 3 or 4 weeks with no food and water. Yes, you can live, let's say a week and a half, 2 weeks with no food. All right, you can go on a hunger strike for weeks. You're a skeleton. You're a walking corpse, and you're not fighting over anything. So I think the timeline that was portrayed in 1 second after is a lot more condensed than anyone would like to actually think about. Because, like I said, day 3, there's going to be no water left in the cities except in the subways, which will flood. Sorry if that was loud. Day 4. Day 4 is when you're going to see mass migration. Those hordes are going to start forming on day 4, not on week 3, not on month 2, day 4. The hordes are leaving the cities because there's no food and water. There's none. And the food and water that is there, that have, if there's a bottled water factory that has pallets and pallets of bottle, or a big food distribution warehouse, these have already been taken over on day 3 by very well-armed gangs. MS-13, Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings, pick one. All right? So you're going to see day 4 mass migration outward from the cities. Now remember, the average refugee is going to travel less than 25 miles per day. All right? And that's a healthy walker, someone in good shape. Me? No, I'm not walking 25 miles per day. I got back issues. I got these. I'm not walking 25 miles a day, especially if I have 2, 3, 4 kids in tow plus others. I'm not. So you figure most of the population is going to be traveling less than 20 or 25 miles a day. Probably half of that, honestly, 10 to 12. But at that time, people are going to start organizing. There's going to be a lot of violence going around within those migrant communities. I mean, you see it now. You hear about it now. At least some, if you look for it, you'll hear it. The refugees that are the air quotes refugees coming from Honduras up through Panama and Mexico into the U.S. You hear all the time horror stories of things happening to those refugees, the females, the children. You hear about people being murdered, threatened. Oh, hold on. I'm going to show that vigilant preparedness. He said e-bike, F walking. Yeah. And, e-bike until the battery runs out or somebody shoots you and takes it. I mean, not being sarcastic or anything, but I know, if you're cruising down the highway and there are hordes of people, I mean, we've all seen it, the movies where somebody's in a car trying to, what was that, War of the Worlds? He's driving with his car through people. Everybody wants the car. Yeah. I would not want to be the only person on a bicycle when there's 50, 80, 100,000, 200,000 people on the same highway heading in the same direction, and they're all on foot. There's going to be a lot of psychos in there, and one of them probably going to shoot at me or hit me with an axe or a machete or whatever. Yeah, think about it. There are too many people think that humans are inherently good, and that is a fatal error, a fatal judgment to assume. All right, because they're not, especially in crisis scenarios. You have a lot of good people, but there are just as many evil, twisted sons of bitches, and they tend to be even more so in the cities. Now you take away rule of law, oh yeah, it's going to get nasty fast. Doc Gout says the beginning food scene in the movie Black Hawk Down is a great example of gangs. Yes. In fact, I had Mogadishu written down here. The organized gangs, which actually, when you talk about warlords, which all of you in here, just Warlord TV, it's not about me primarily. It's also about you, because you will be, odds are, you're a prepper, you're planned, you're prepared for scenarios like we're talking about right now. you will be part of the warrior leadership class in a post-collapse society. All right. You will, just because you're here and your mindset is here. All right. But the organization in Mogadishu that we were fighting is today part of that government, the Somali government. All right. So, and that was back in 93. So see, they rose to power, but yeah, they controlled the food. And a lot of the population was with them because they were hungry. And when you're hungry, you do what the hell you're told by those who control the food. And so, yes, a lot of these people will be looking towards the more organized gangs. You've got food? Well, yeah, but you want me to do this? Oh, okay, I'll do that to feed my kids. You'd be surprised what people will do to feed themselves or their children or their wife. All right. But, along with that, you're going to see, like I said, highwaymen, organized gangs, highwaymen, just 2 or 3 dudes that are just like rolling from, scavenging, taking, knocking people off, taking what supplies they got and keep on rolling. It's happened throughout history. It's happening today in certain parts of the world. All right. Organized gangs, refugees, and all 3 of those are very dangerous. All right. Because even if a group doesn't kill you, even if they were just regular refugees, if they take everything that you have, the elements will kill you. You not having that will kill you. All right. Day 5. The suburbs will be sacked on day 5 because remember, they're going to be moving outwards. So anybody in the suburbs who hasn't left yet, well, their shit is pretty much going to belong. They're either going to flee with it or it's going to belong to all those refugees that are moving outwards on day 5. Rural communities on day 5 will either be reinforcing their boundaries and their borders, or they won't be. They'll probably be sending out scouts. At that time, you'll have smaller communities that will be sending out scouts to see what's going on. Now, we'll get on into what to do, how to, if you live in a rural community, what to do and what not to do after we get to day 7. Day 6, urbanites and city dwellers will begin to die off at a faster pace. Yes, you'll have initial violence and stuff like that in the cities of people fighting, stuff like that. But day 6 is when the actual beginnings of a massive amounts of people dying off. They always say in an EMP or a grid down where it's down and it's not coming back, in the first year, 90% of the population will be gone. This is where it starts on day 6. It's not starting 6 months out. It's day 6 because that is when dehydration has begun to set in for most of the population. Let's say half of the population of New York City, half the population of Chicago, half the population of LA hasn't had water to drink, or at least enough water to drink in a few days. All right. Dehydration is going to start setting in. Waterborne illnesses are going to start setting in because now they're at the point where they're just drinking whatever the hell they can put in their pie hole to quench their thirst. They're going to be ramping up on killing for their own supplies, for the ability to stay alive. Exactly. Black Cat, mass sickness starts soon. It does. Rapes, murders, these are going to be just thrown on top. Yes, you can be raped to death. It happens. All right. You see it in other cultures all the time. Day 7, the hordes will reach rural communities. Now remember, they left on day 4. Day 4, day 5, day 6. 3 days walking 10 to 15 miles per day. Let's just lower it 10 days. Most rural communities are within, if you go 30 miles from a city, from a major city, 30 miles out, you usually start to hit rural communities. And that's when you're really going to start to see the food wars, if you will, where it's a fight. All right. Like, what was that 1 second after, where, they got all these whores outside, who they're going to let in, who they're not going to let in, have lists of people, vetting people, things like that. You're going to see a lot of that on day 7, not week 7, not month 2, day 7. Now, let me flip this page here. What to do if you're in a rural community, and I assume most of you will be on that group of people. If you live in a city or in an urban environment, or even just a suburban environment, on day 2, the end of day 2, you're already like, I'm quietly skedaddling towards my rural bug out, or my friends in the rural areas. What to do? First, you're going to have to you send out scouts and find out exactly what is going on. Get eyes far enough out, days out, a day out, 2 days out of travel and back. Rural communities are going to have a lot easier time doing this, because there's a lot of people that still have horses, bicycles, things like that. Diesel fuel. All right. You'd be surprised how many people still, have diesel fuel and be able to be shitting and get in, check stuff out, and get back. Well armed. The populations of rural environments tend to be extremely well armed. Now, don't make the mistake in thinking that the city dwellers are not going to be armed, because they will be gathering arms along the way of one type or another. But you want to know what's coming at you, so you want to recon. The second thing you want to do is you want to start to direct the flow of people. All right. If you know that there's a major bridge that people coming from this city have to come across to get to your neck of the woods, because there's a major waterway or a major ravine or anything like that, you simply bring that bridge down. You make it unusable. Now, I know a lot of you are like, well, I wouldn't know the first thing about doing it. Trust me, someone in a rural community knows how to do that. You can even watch some of my previous videos and pick up bits and pieces of information on how to do that. But it's not rocket surgery, and it's fairly simple to bring down bridges. It is. Let's see, what are we saying here? Sandy, nowhere to go. Sandy, everyone has somewhere to go. Everyone knows somebody. It's true. You know somebody. It's just a matter of planning ahead of time to get there. Funnel into hell, Black Cat Whirligig says. Scott C. I live in Utah, so the numbers aren't much different here. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Buckshot Pepper says, hell yeah, we blow shit up out here. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you can find explosives at, most major construction companies that do blasting work, demolition companies that bring bridges down for a living. In my area, hydraulic fracturing companies. Yeah, the companies that detonate shit underground. Oh yeah. I mean, I go to a well site right now, and there's 1,000 pounds of explosives sitting up there. Just saying. And that's not even talking about the homemade shit. Yeah, Buckshot Prepper. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, you want to bring down bridges that will be funneling large population of people into your area. Bring those down and make them go, 50 miles north or 20 miles south or whatever they have to, make them go around. Block ramps that go off of the highways. Make them follow the path of least resistance. All right, you can block ramps with semi trucks, cars. There's numerous ways. You can fell trees along the roads, right off the highways. Boom, 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 just fell trees. And if you need to move them into the road, if you don't have diesel power, you're in the country. You can get horses, and horses will move it. Yes, the Amish still use horses to pull very large trees, but impeding people's progress. And then intimidation. All right, you want to make an area. I've said before, I've gotten flack before because I said in our area, we'll just put people that like the nasty people, the pedo touchers and the serial rapists and things like that. We'll just put them on fucking pikes, like Vlad the Impaler them up the backside and leave them on the side of the road. Most people aren't going to want to travel down a side road that has a bunch of piked bodies. The people that would go down that road are people you need to just shoot on sight because there's something wrong with their mind. I'm just saying. Buckshot Prepper, they keep censoring you, and I'm gonna keep showing it. So intimidation. The first few that you encounter, or the people that are in your area when this shit goes down that cause problems, because you will, even the rural communities, you will have the tweakers that are coming off their shit. They're gonna act up. We all have those people in our communities that live amongst us that are nasty people that are only alive because it's illegal under current law to kill them. Those people exist all around us right now. Well, once that's gone, so is that protection. So those people, you pike them, put their head up on it, or whatever, leave them hanging from a bridge, whatever you need to do. And other people, nasty people, will probably be like, oh, I don't want to go that way because those people, and leave signs on what they did. And people, like, if it says, hung for touching a kitty, the kitty toucher's probably gonna be like, I don't want to go that way. I'm gonna go this way. Just saying. What we're saying here, Scott C says unconventional warfare manual is free and available. Yes. Jay Hoare, Rob, you've motivated me to get into shape. I took up full contact karate and now I'm a brown belt. That was fast. I haven't done martial arts in years, like formally studied it in years, like 10 or more. But it's been a while. I got a little KLX 110 that will do 60 mile per hour and small enough to fit anywhere. Well, there you go. A good bike is extremely useful. Yes, it is. All right. The other thing, what to do. Treat threats as real. All right. In today's society right now, people will be like, oh, I'm going to come back and I'm going to bust you up. Yeah. And a lot of people blow it off because right now we know for the most part, people are just talking smoke, blowing smoke up your butt because they don't want to face the legal system of, whatever. You make a phone call, guys with guns show up and do bad things to them. Well, when that doesn't exist, you need to treat every threat as if it's about to happen right now. So if somebody, wants to come into your area and you're like, no, you're not from here, you're not coming in here, please go on down the road because you've got a checkpoint set up, on this side of your piked heads. And they're like, cussing at you. Just deal with it right there. All right. Put them up on a wall. Whatever. They had the chance to leave. Because, see, what a lot of people fail to realize is that though in the beginning it will be rather Mad Max-ish, society will become polite very fast because the people that are the MS-13s, the Crips, the Bloods, the serial rapists, the kitty touchers, all that, they will die off rather fast, even when they organize, all right? Because people just aren't going to tolerate their shit anymore because they won't have to. The people always think the Wild West was wild. No, it was actually, if you actually study history, the Wild West was a lot more polite of a society than today. Yeah, the frontier was a little bit wild. You had cowboys and Native Americans that went at it once in a while and different things like that. But in general, the Wild West wasn't wild because of guns blazing. No, because most people knew that if you acted a fool, you're likely to get shot. And it will become like that again. All right. You get drunk and walk over and grab a man's wife's ass, you're probably going to end up with a bullet in your chest. If you talk shit, you're going to get hit, probably with a 45 caliber slug. That's the way it's going to be. So that, though, in the initial periods of a power, a society without power, yeah, it's going to be real ugly. But it's only going to be for a brief period of time, because we will sort shit out rather quickly. All right. You will bring order from chaos. All right. And like I said, the warlords, will rise in your town, in my town, definitely my town, even if it's not me, all across the nation, because it happens throughout history. People organize. The person at the top is, those with the golden rule isn't those with the gold make the rules. It's those with the guns make the rules. All right. I learned that in Afghanistan. Dieter Andrew says this crap happens and then cool ass aliens show up and say, "What's up?" Why would they block that? But you never know. They come in from the dome or something. Dome seeker. It might come in from. I'm just messing with you, girl. All right. Do not. Here's the things. Do not do. Do not become complacent. Don't just. That's it. Don't become complacent. Do not bluff. All right. If you say you're going in that society, in that type of scenario, when there's no law and order and shit has hit the fan and shit is real, don't ever bluff. Don't bluff. Just handle shit. All right. Compromise. Do not compromise or deal out of fear. A lot of people do that nowadays. Do not ever compromise or deal out of fear. People come, that bully comes up and he wants your lunch money, well, I'll tell you what, you give me X amount of food and me and my guys will go away. All right. It's going to take us about an hour to get all the supplies. Okay. We'll wait. Well, when that guy goes back to go get the supplies for him, you better be setting up an L ambush a little bit further down the road. So when you hand those people your stuff and they start walking that way, because they'll be back. They'll be back. When they start walking that way, you just lay down fire and just leave them all on pikes. All right. Let's see what's going on in here. Dome Seeker says, ha, ha, ha. What? I want to be able to talk about aliens. And I'm like, I don't know. We got into aliens for some reason on that, but I'm cool with that. Let's see. Scott C says, working on getting myself a Jerry C. Thermal to go with my cheap clip-on. Hey, I mean, any tactical edge that you can get is good. Let's see. Blood is loud and impressionable. In SHTF, it's blood for blood. And see, that's the thing. That's what's wrong with our society today. We've allowed it to get so far. We've compromised. See, compromise or deal out of fear. Right now, we compromise and deal out of fear. Oh, well, they'll call me a racist. Oh, well, they'll call me a sexist. Oh, well, they'll call me a homophobe. Oh, well, they'll call me a transphobe. Oh, well, I'll lose my job. Oh, well, I'll lose my insurance. So what? Stop compromising out of fear. Oh, well, I have to wear a mask. No, you don't. Well, if I don't, I'll lose my job. Oh, I had to get a vaccine. No, you didn't. Stop compromising out of fear. You have to, at some point, you have to stick to your principles. Jareth Hogan says, hey, us mechanics don't play around. I know. I've been trying to get my truck back repaired for, 2 weeks now, I think. It's yeah. What'd you say?
I said read what Bob Jones.
Bob Jones. Hey, it says, hey, Uncle Rob. Did I miss something? Why are you so bald? I thought you were a Bosley Hair Club spokesman. Well, that's messed up, Bob. Because I'm old and I've been stressed, and what's it? I guess my grandfather on my mother's side had a jacked up hairline. Michael Holtzman, good seeing you, Warlord. I'm getting to work. I'll watch the rest later. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here, Michael Holtzman. 100% transphobia here. I'm not afraid of shit. I just, leave what you do in your privacy. That's one thing. You bring that shit into public, you can fuck off with that. Never wore a mask once, and sure as shit didn't drink their Kool-Aid. Show that DB Cooper. Yeah, like I said, if anybody has any questions about, what I think about trans people, go watch the Chicken Talk and watch to the end. Have your kids watch that video. Your kids need to hear that shit because it's counter propaganda for what they're teaching your kids at school and on Disney and on every damn channel. Every channel now you see something about it. It's ridiculous. Yeah, don't get me on that. That shit boils my blood how far we've let this country fall. Again, one person, be the change you want to see. All right? I'm not telling you to do anything bad, but if it happens to be bad and you need to do it because it'll solve a problem, then that's it. Think about it. There are what? 500, I don't know the exact number because I'm not big on the politics. I won't say I'm not big on politics, but I'm not certain on all the exact numbers of representatives. But there's less than 600 people in like Congress and Senate. 600. You tell me 300 million? Let's cut that in half. 100 million or a third. 100 million people can't fix that problem. We got 500 people that are fucking our country up. And 100 million people can't solve that problem. Buddy, 500 people can solve that problem. That's a fact. They just got to have the intestinal fortitude. You got to be willing to put your ass on the line. But you can solve that problem. You can at least solve you, whoever you are right now, looking at my finger. You can solve one of those problems. Just saying. Look at Hammerman. He gave it a shot. Piss poor planning, though. Coffee. Coffee's in the cup tonight because I had a little bit of a headache, so I took a few Advil like a half hour before this came on. And, coffee's in the cup. And see, I was just saying for those in a bad situation, I don't know who you were talking to on that one, Jareth, be a dangerous man. Yes. Yes, we need to be, the days of Noah, right there. What's it say? Renewed and forgiven, the days of Noah and Lot. Well, here's the thing I said, is that in Sodom and Gomorrah, it wasn't just the bad, screwed up people that got wiped off the map. It was all the people, the entire population, right? Even the ones that weren't doing the creepy, funky, nasty shit got wiped out. Why? Because they weren't stopping the shit. And if you're not stopping the problem, you're part of the problem. So, and I know a lot of people will say, before we resort to violence, I always hear it all the time on other people's channels. Before we resort to violence, we should vote. Do your duty and vote. I'm going to say this so it's as clear as can be. We have been voting for over 200 years. Yes, you tracking on that one? And we're getting further and further and further away from the Constitution. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result is the literal definition of insanity. Are you following? There comes a point when you have to just go, you know what, this shit ain't working. Time to use the backup plan that was put in place by the founding fathers. Yes. Let's see. Is blue or red politicians wings of the same bird? It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Democrat, Republican. It doesn't matter. Two wings, same bird. Comes a point in time when you just have to say, "What are we eating tonight, bird?" Bird. That's what it is. Smoke can be a good way to trap marauders. It can be. Now, I'd like to point out something that that Bear and Bear Independent brought up in a video last week. He was saying, he talks about these people that think that they're going to go post SHTF and go kicking door to door, clearing rooms. No, don't. If you are of that mentality that you're going to go clearing rooms and buildings, don't. All right. It's a very nasty job to do. Yes, you're right. Jesus had his disciples sell their clothes to cloaks to get swords. But no, you're not going to go. Jareth Hogan right there. CQB sucks. In the event, now hear me out here. If you find yourself in a post SHTF, a post grid down scenario, to where you got a building full of bad guys, here's how you solve the building full of bad guys. You do not compromise, especially out of fear, but you do not go into that building. You set up a line, often a firing line, off in the distance, behind cover, and you send a couple guys, your sneaky guys, your scouts and shit. You send a couple of them up. I would send them ideally one or two one way and one or two the other way, just so that I have better odds of success, because 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So if I got 2 over here, I got 1 that's going to make it on this side and 1 that's going to make it on this side, and at least one of those sides is going to make it to that building to set the other side of the building on fire. All right? You set this side of the building on fire, your firing line's over here. Anybody in this building, either going to burn up or come running right out into your firing line. All right. And I wouldn't just have a fire line. I'd have like an L or a modified L ambush, maybe a V formation, whatever. Be able to see if anybody's hopping out the side windows, anything like that. Buckshot pepper. Yes, fire. Burn them out. Yes. But also, remember that this is another reason why you don't need to stock up on 10, 15, 20,000 rounds of ammunition. Because if you have 2,000 or less, let's say you have 1,000, if you have to use your ammunition and you're not dead yet, trust me, you've shot some people who have the ammunition you need along the way, and you just pick it up off of them. Don't forget their boots, and anything that doesn't have holes or blood soaked. Boots, flashlights. In a situation like that, you're going to want to scavenge from this. Yes, I will wear dead man's boots if they're the right size and my pair wear out. Not a problem. I'll wear them all day, every day. Let me jump in the chat. Anybody have anything they want to talk about other than that? Buckshot Pepper says you carry 1,000 rounds. Yeah, there you go. Like I said, you'll also hear people talking about different calibers, isn't it? It's a tool. It's a tool. You need 2 guns. You need a pistol and a rifle. And your pistol is just to get you to your rifle. And you don't need your pistol if you always have your rifle. Parts is where you should spend your money. Parts to repair your rifle or pistol or both. Spare parts, spare buffer tubes, spare buffer springs, spare little spring that goes underneath that little pin that holds your buffer in place. That little son of a bitch goes bing and flying out. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it goes bing and it goes flying out. It's a pain in the ass. Triggers, trigger assemblies, trigger springs, hammers, firing pins, bolt assemblies, shit like that. All right. And it's a lot cheaper than buying whole guns. And it will last forever. You just keep, if a part wears out, you put it in, you keep on rocking. What are we talking about here? Campfire, yes, exactly. I wasn't following. Detent spring. Thank you. Uncle Mother Rob, can we have a review of OFC Nation videos in the future? Yes, I'm going to redo the insurgent series. All right, how to be insurgency tactics, techniques, and procedures. I believe that's what it was called when it was OFC Nation. I will go over PNP in the next few months. I will go over all of that again. The how to derail trains, the how to bring down buildings, and how to destroy armored vehicles. I'll do all that again. And I got that UN flag that I still need to go and set up on the property and hit with the flamethrower. So that's probably going to be the next video. Right now I haven't been making any videos, primarily because I've been really busy with a truck that engine decided to detonate, and my screen over my camera is completely smashed right there, right over the camera. So if I make a video, like, I have to be in just the right spot where you won't see me. It's just all blurry everywhere else. And I haven't gotten around to getting that done, that swapped out. So I'll get there. Let's see. Incendiary slugs, campfire ship says fire. J Horror, I have 2 AR-15s. I'm building one in 7.62x39 as an SPR and the other in 5.56. So you're building a AK. This way, 7.62x39. Yes. And I was like I'll get on John's Prepper Nations thread, and I'll be like, AK, for when your balls drop, which AKs can be accurate if you understand that the sighting. All right. Because a lot of people don't realize that here AKs are not accurate. That's because you have the front sight of an AK here, and then the rear sight, like here, which isn't rear, it's mid. All right. But if you put a sight back here, or you simply practice enough, you can be fairly accurate with this little range, because the shorter distance makes the weapon less accurate. See? But if you do just put a rear sight on it back here, or a scope that comes up, over the side, then they're pretty accurate. I mean, I plunk eggs with the mid sight. I can plunk eggs at 100 yards with them. That's not bad, and it packs a lot of punch. But what's it saying here? But yeah, I like getting people spun up. But like I said, why have an AR-15 and an AK? Well, you never know. If we get overrun by, like I said, I used to be of the Red Dawn. If the Russians come or the Chinese come, then I'll be able to have a platform that can handle their ammunition. I can just reload from the battle space. But at the end of the day, if you got 5.56 and the Chi-Coms did decide to make a land invasion, you could just shoot one with your AR and pick up theirs if you need. And you got an AK for free. But again, like I said, we as Americans don't have a problem with the Russians or the Chi-Coms. They don't care about us. They want our government to leave them alone. Kind of like we want our government to leave them alone. The only problem is our government doesn't have a problem poking at us, because they're not afraid of us anymore. Mm-hmm. So if someday you see Russians dropping out of the sky onto DC, please do not shoot at our liberators. They're going to clean up the mess and go to fuck home, and then we can rebuild. All right? I know Robbie words. So you shouldn't be letting the kids watch this shit. Renewed in forgiveness. LO, I don't know. I know I had Independent Marine was going pretty good down there at the campsite. He's like, I don't like communists. Communist. I was like, no. I was like, if you actually do your history right now, yeah. You don't want to be waving that Ukrainian flag around. You might as well be waving around a swastika. Just saying. Anything else anybody want to talk about? If so, put it in the chat right now. If not, we're going to call it a night because it has been an hour and 6 minutes. That's my cup. My cup. I believe Chewbacca got one of these cups too. Live stream with Risky C. I don't know who Risky C is. Red Dog late to the party. Dome Seeker matches your cup. That's not your cup. That's your husband's cup. But I guess if he gifted it to you. She took it from you. Oh, that's messed up. You gotta handle your household, my friend. You gotta establish dominance. All right. You go over there, grab that cup out of her hand, smack her on the backside, say, "Woman, get in there and make me a sandwich." You gotta dig. Yeah. I don't have any more made up right now. PNP. I did give one to Dynamite. Gave one to Dynamite, the one that was on my campsite down there. I will get some more made up in the future if the future isn't collapsed. We'll see. Like I said, I don't have endorsements, although I've been emailed them before. Shadow banned, so I don't make any money off of YouTube. So when I make things like that and I give them away, it's just because I made them and gave them away, and I've given away a few of those. Praise the Lord, my rock who trains my hands for war, my fingers for battle. Yes. I agree with that, Max Havoc. Well, thank you all for being here. And y'all have a good night. To my baby sharks, Daddy loves you. And everything I do is for you. Everyone, good night. God bless. Thanks for being here.